What if I told you there's a species of great ape that resolves conflict not with violence, but with intimacy, and where females, not males, hold the ultimate power? Picture this. Deep in the lush rainforests of the Congo, a group of apes is feeding peacefully. Suddenly, tension flares. Two individuals want the same fruit. In most animal societies, this would lead to a fight, displays of strength, tithe-bearing, maybe even injury. But here, something extraordinary happens. Instead of aggression, one ape approaches the other gently and offers a tender touch. A brief social gesture. The tension dissolves, they share the food and move on. This isn't a fantasy. This is the daily reality of bonobo society, one of the most unique and misunderstood social structures in the animal kingdom. For decades, scientists believed that chimpanzees, our other closest living relatives, gave us a clear window into human evolution. Chimps use tools, hunt in groups, and form complex alliances. But they also wage brutal wars, commit infanticide, and live in male-dominated hierarchies where violence is a constant threat. Then along came the bonobo, an ape so similar genetically to the chimp, yet so radically different in behavior, that it forced us to rethink everything we thought we knew about power, conflict, and what it means to be social. So how did these apes, living just across a river from chimpanzees, evolve such a peaceful, female-led world? And what can their society teach us about our own? Let's start with the basics. Bonobos look a lot like chimpanzees, slender, dark-faced, intelligent, but there are subtle differences. They have longer legs, smaller heads, and a more graceful build. They're sometimes called the hippie apes because of their reputation for free love and nonviolence. But that label oversimplifies something far more profound. Bonobos haven't just rejected violence. They've replaced it with an intricate web of social bonding, communication, and empathy that centers around one powerful force. The female dot in bonobo troops, females form the core of social life. They are the decision makers, the peacekeepers, the glue that holds everything together. When a young female bonobo reaches maturity, she doesn't stay in her birth group, she leaves to find a new community. And when she arrives, she doesn't fight her way in. She builds bridges. She approaches the high-ranking females slowly, using gentle touches and social gestures to form bonds. These bonds become lifelong alliances, a sisterhood of sorts, that will eventually allow her to influence the entire group. Male bonobos, interestingly, remain in their birth groups, but they don't dominate. Their status depends entirely on their mothers. A male with a powerful, well-connected mother will have access to better food, more mating opportunities, and social support. Without her, he's largely peripheral. This creates a society where female relationships dictate the social landscape, and where aggression is rarely useful. But how do bonobos maintain this peace? The answer lies in one of their most famous behaviors: using social intimacy to diffuse tension. In scientific terms, it's called sociosexual behavior. In simple terms, bonobos make love, not war. When conflict arises over food, territory, or mating, they engage in gentle social contact. It's not always sexual in a reproductive sense, it's a tool for communication. A gesture that says, "I come in peace." This behavior isn't random. It's strategic, frequent, and woven into the fabric of their interactions. Researchers have observed bonobos sharing food with strangers, something chimps almost never do. In experiments where bonobos and chimps were placed in rooms adjacent to food, the chimps would fight to get in first. The bonobos, They'd often wait, socialize at the gate, and then enter together to share the meal. It's a level of spontaneous cooperation that stunned scientists. But why did bonobos evolve this way? The leading theory points to their environment. Bonobos live south of the Congo River, in a region rich in fruit and vegetation. Food is abundant and competition is lower. There are no gorillas in their territory, unlike chimps, who must compete with gorillas for resources. With less pressure, aggression became less necessary. And in that space, empathy and social intelligence flourished. Female bonobos, in particular, leveraged this stability. By forming strong, non-competitive bonds with unrelated females, they created a social buffer against male aggression. If a male acts out, the females band together to put him in his place, not with violence, but with social exclusion and coalition building. It's a powerful, subtle form of control. This doesn't mean bonobos are incapable of aggression. They can be assertive, especially females defending their young. But physical violence is rare. Serious injuries are almost unheard of. No bonobo in the wild has ever been recorded killing another bonobo, a stark contrast to their chimp cousins. What's even more fascinating is how bonobos communicate. Their vocalizations are complex, nuanced, and often used to reinforce social bonds. They groom each other for hours. They play well into adulthood. They console those who are distressed. In one moving observation, a young bonobo who had been frightened by a falling branch was immediately surrounded and comforted by several adults. A display of empathy once thought to be uniquely human. So what does this mean for us? For a long time, human nature was often viewed through the lens of chimpanzee behavior, competitive, hierarchical, and prone to violence. But bonobos offer another mirror. They show us that cooperation, female leadership, and emotional intelligence are just as deeply rooted in our evolutionary past. They remind us that power doesn't always have to be seized, it can be shared. And that sometimes the strongest societies aren't built on force, but on connection. Today, bonobos are endangered. Habitat loss and poaching threaten their fragile world. But their legacy is more than biological, it's a lesson. In a time of division and conflict, the bonobo stands as a quiet testament to another way of living. A society where care triumphs over conflict, where relationships matter more than rank, and where the future is shaped not by the strongest, but by the wisest and most compassionate. If you were inspired by the world of the bonobo, which other animal society should we explore next? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe to Rare Species for more untold stories of the wild.